Hi, I'm Rick Orr. I'm the founder of a company called TabbedOut in Austin. I've been an entrepreneur in Austin through 3 startups now since graduating University of Texas in 1999. Learned a lot over the three startups. It's an interesting world. It takes a lot of passion, a lot of perseverance in particular. Kind of going back to the start, post-graduation, my college roommate invited me to join a fledgling startup that was in the security space called Whole Security. And it turns out it was really pivotal for me to learn from that experience and also meet my eventual co-founder, a gentleman by the name of David Limley, with whom I started TabbedOut eventually. I found it really amazing to see firsthand the way a startup can be built and the trials and tribulations. And to be frank, it gave me a little bit of an addiction to it, as well as, I think, some carnal knowledge for how to proceed and make the leap ultimately on my own into starting TabbedOut in 2009. TabbedOut's a mobile payment product where you can pay your bar and restaurant tab with your phone. The impetus for it was an hour-long closeout here in Austin around 2002. I'd taken my product team to lunch, and it took us an hour to finally get our check, and sort of walked away thinking there's got to be a better way. And I was very fortunate that David was sitting in the office next to me when we came back from lunch, and I was able to sort of present the idea to him. And over the course of 7 years, we were almost in a monthly state of, is it time? Should we leave our jobs? Should we go do this? And for us, we got to experience the exit of Whole Security to Symantec, which was a really fun and interesting thing to experience. We got to then go and start another company together in the prepaid payment space called Rev Worldwide with some other local entrepreneurs. And we married that security software knowledge with the payments knowledge into finally making the leap in 2009, June of 2009. So we're coming up on 5 years of TabbedOut. And again, it's a mobile application where you can walk into a restaurant and sort of pay with your name. So you don't hand your card to a stranger for hours at a time, or if your kids are dismantling the booth, you can save the embarrassment from the whole restaurant and just open your phone and pay. It's kind of the only time it's okay to use your phone at dinner. At least that's what my wife tells me. But it's been a really great journey. I would say, while I've been a part of 3 startups, TabbedOut was the first one that I had to make the leap. I had to give up the paycheck. I had to set the savings ablaze. I had to really, more importantly, trust myself. That even if I didn't have it all figured out, I could figure out enough and use people in this great community in Austin effectively to move the ball forward incrementally. And I'm happy to report that after 5 years, we've done a good job. We built the company to 42 people and 5,000 plus locations across the United States. But maybe hearkening back for the purposes of this conversation, the challenges that you face early on are really the most fun. As you get big teams around you, you start to have to deal with more people and personnel. The really fun, hard challenges are looking an investor in the face and convincing them that you've got a model figured out that you probably don't quite have figured out. To get other people around you convinced as much as you are to quit their jobs and work ridiculous hours trying to create something out of nothing. And what you get out of it, though, is you start to give people jobs, and you start to see people grow their career, and it's incredibly rewarding to see that. I am very fortunate that my younger brother was able to join TabbedOut from very first employee, and so he's built a wonderful set of experience and skill set, and it's been just a blast to get to build a business with my brother, right? So the things that you can't do when you join another company are make those types of decisions. That you get to pick what you want your canvas to look like, what color. If you think of it as a house, you get to decide how big the doors are and how wide the windows are. And I'm gratuitously stealing that from someone that I think everyone should listen to, is Seth Godin. He's a very well-known entrepreneur from the early pre-bubble days, and I think I found him and people like Ben Horowitz and people of that ilk are really wonderful to kind of read their blogs, listen to their podcasts, et cetera, because it's, as an entrepreneur, it's truly lonely at a lot of times. That's another key challenge, is there's very few people you can disclose the most complex issues to. You can't tell your team for fear that they'll be demotivated by knowing all the things that are keeping you up at night. My wife, God bless her, has had to hear every bit of it, and she certainly learned more than anyone I would ever ask to about what the challenges are of starting our business. But again, it's just finding a network of other entrepreneurs, people that have made the leap, is really the key. That you can have a coffee conversation and hold just shy of disclosing anything that you would hurt the business, of course, but you need that sounding board, and I highly advise finding trusted peers and mentors, of which there are many in a city like Austin and the Bay and out east. Besides work, I think it's really critical that you find some other things to break the monotony. My wife, I've many times told other people she's officially tabbed out because she's so tired of hearing me talk about it. So I had to focus really hard and some critical points of the business on finding ways to spend time with her and my family, my friends. Make sure you're keeping track of and trying to find new hobbies, whether it's golf or I love to fish and do just about anything outdoors. So my wife and I find ourselves less on beaches and more on little bed and breakfast ranches in the middle of nowhere where you can't turn a phone on, and that's worked for us. But on the general advice front, I think the perseverance is the most important thing to take away from, at least from my perspective on starting a business, because it's easy to give up. It's so much easier to give up than to keep pushing. Whether you don't know if the money is going to come in, whether you've got a support issue that seems insurmountable, or a deal that if it doesn't land, you feel there's no tomorrow, you just keep waking up and keep pushing as hard as you possibly can with putting really smart people around you. I'd say that's another important challenge to consider, is that you build this house, as I was mentioning, from scratch. You get to choose the color of paint and the windows and all those things, but eventually you have to have help. You have to have smart people you can put around you and trust that they may not like the color of purple you picked, but you got to coach them into making it an effective use of their time. And it's hard. It's hard. You're involved with every aspect of the business in the beginning, and you incrementally lose touch with a bunch of things you were really passionate about. So sort of honing in, and particularly from a leadership perspective, finding a way to delegate and truly focus on accountability and strategy and vision rather than the execution. When you could do something, you think you could do something better than someone else, at the end of the day, you can't scale unless you leverage your skill set onto other people effectively, and maybe more importantly, hire people that are truly better than you at the key positions. It takes a lot of introspective journey, and in some cases you're not real happy with what you figure out that you're not good at, but if you do, you have a better chance for success. I mean, so many of these things fail. It's if you think of any way other than moving forward aggressively, then I think you're not doing yourself the right service, because you may not get to make the leap again and take the risks. So do it with everything you got. Beyond that, I think just a quick plug for TabbedOut. We're a mobile payments application, as I said, in Austin. Go use it. We're free download on iPhone and Android. At TabbedOut is our Twitter handle. I'm at Rick with 3 R's. My name is Rick Orr, and my life is my passion project.